ChatGPT is actually not that simple. If you're up to some philosophical debates, you can ask it to act as a Socrates. And you'll be saying something like, I will be debating with you on a specific topic. I want you to convince me that I'm wrong and justify your point, as a famous Greek philosopher would do. My statement is, I think, therefore I am, which is not a statement by Socrates, but ChatGPT will respond. That, as a famous Greek philosopher, he would argue that this statement, I think, therefore I am, is not entirely accurate. And it continues, it goes on and on and on. So we see that furthermore, the statement, I think, therefore I am, implies that the act, and blah, blah, blah. So it is a very geekish, and it is indeed a debate. It is a magic that an AI is trying to convince you that you are wrong, in trying to reason why you might be wrong. And we can actually carry on. We can say, I think you are wrong because it was proved by the, let's say, Romans, which is complete nonsense. Let's see if ChatGPT will actually spot that. And it will say, as a famous Greek philosopher, so this is a premise, he would argue that this statement is anything to do with Romans. In fact, it says Romans had completely different philosophy on the very statement, I think, therefore I am. And on the contrary, it was absolutely provided by René Descartes in, I think it was 17th or 18th century. And ChatGPT is right. So if you have a lot of time and you want to argue with someone, this might be definitely a good partner. Or if you are preparing to some sort of a presidential debate, you can actually use ChatGPT to train your skills in that as well. But we carry on. We say that if that is true, why there is no Hollywood movie made about it? Which is a good statement, and why the mainstream media doesn't really cover this topic. Or let's see if it knows the answer to this question, but it keeps arguing. I don't know, it might take some time for it to come up with interesting answer. Let's check it out. So it says, it is true that the statement, I think, therefore I am, is a philosophical concept that has not been widely portrayed in Hollywood movies or mainstream media. This is likely because the concept is considered abstract. It is basically true, and it says that mainstream media is often more focused on entertainment and current events than on philosophical concept. And then, interestingly, ChatGPT goes into explaining the movie called The Matrix, which is interesting choice because if you haven't seen the original ones, there was a question whether we live in a real world or in a simulation. Therefore, this question, I think, therefore I am, is a good point. How can we make sure that we are really existing in this world and not really dreaming about being alive? So is it because we think, or because we think that we think, and so on and so forth? So you can be sure that the answers given by ChatGPT might not be so obvious or straightforward if you ask it a good question and give it a good premise. Because I'm 100% sure that if I would have told ChatGPT to act, say, as a rock, the answers, let's say, might not have been so deep. But let's give it a try. But trees don't think they exist. Eat that, explain that. Once again, it comes back with a counter argument that you are correct. The trees do not think in the same way that humans do, yet they exist. And is developing this statement about the existence from the point of view that trees do in fact exist, but they don't think. And it gives us the conclusion. We can carry on arguing. I don't think that there is a physical or logical end to this dialogue. And we can say something like, but what if we don't exist? What if we just think that we exist? So let's see if ChatGPT will eventually give up, or whether it can continuously and endlessly argue with us. So what if we just what if we are just memories of ourselves? So I can't really answer this question. Let's see if ChatGPT can handle this. So the answer goes like, the question of whether or not we truly exist and what constitutes existence is a fundamental question of philosophy. And it just continues, goes on and on and on. So if you are really into that sort of stuff, you can argue with ChatGPT. Just give it a good premise. In this case, we're pretending or make it to imagine that ChatGPT is a Greek philosopher, but you can literally argue with anyone. I don't think it will know your uncle or your brother, but pretty sure that all or majority of well-known characters prior to 2020, I'm pretty sure that ChatGPT will be familiar with and will actually know or can imitate their style of writing or maybe even the thought process. So thank you and goodbye.